Alright, so bad endings. I'm not talking about sad endings, that's a whole different conversation. I'm talking about poorly written or produced endings. The ones that leave a bad taste in your mouth. The ones that can push a promising series into irrelevancy. It's pretty safe to say that an ending is the most important part of a story. It's where everything wraps up and it's the last thing the audience will experience in that world. And it is the hardest part to write. At least I think so. I'm not an author, but I've written some poor conclusions on several essays that may have made the rest of the essay seem bad. It's very rare that an ending is unanimously considered bad by the fans. At least half of them are in denial, or genuinely don't mind where it ended, but in the worst cases, not even the most devout fans can come to its defense. I've never seen such a huge flip in a show's fan base as Game of Thrones. I have yet to see a single person defend the ending. I'm still on the beginning of season 8, so I can't really comment on if it's as bad as people say, but it went from possibly the most loved show in the world to a title that people grimace at the mention of. And it really is one of the best shows ever made, up until maybe the last episode. And that's what makes it the best example of what I'm talking about. Remember The Promised Neverland? Of course you do. It was one of the biggest and best new gen anime. Everybody loved it. It's fantastic plot, great characters, and most of all, brilliant world. But then season 2 came out, and the ending was a slideshow. And when is the last time you heard someone mention Promised Neverland? Probably been a while. And that's because the ending is what makes or breaks the plot. It goes both ways. A good ending can propel an average show into a classic, and can make great shows a masterpiece. The first show that comes to mind is 3D Kanojo or Real Girl. I watched it years ago, and I don't remember really anything about the plot other than it being corny throughout, but I remember the ending perfectly, and it's a great ending. The great ending is really the only reason I still remember it, and I'm talking about it right now, but I kinda skipped over the title. 3D Kanojo, 3D girl. That is unbelievable dweeb shit. Like, wow, this girl has length, height, and get this, width. Wow, like that is painful to say. It's also ironic because this three-dimensional girl is actually two-dimensional. Now that I'm thinking about it, the show is just to cater to some weeaboos. Like, if I catch any of you calling a girl 3D, I'll push you over. Some other good endings that come to mind are Parasite and Steins Gate. Both great shows throughout, but their endings are just perfect and push them into the conversation for some of my favorite shows ever made. But that's enough talk about good endings. It's much more fun to talk about failures. I've been talking about final moments, but how about final seasons? A bad season can make people completely forget a show, like Seven Deadly Sins. Similar to A Promised Neverland, it seemed like it was going to be one of the anime that people will remember for a long time. Then the later seasons came out and the animation dropped in quality. And Seven Deadly Sins is now almost never talked about. Does it even have an ending yet? I have no idea, and I loved the show when I watched the first couple seasons. But in hindsight, the show is a little weird at times. Or Tokyo Ghoul. A mediocre, confusing, and rushed final season makes everybody forget about the greatness that was the first season. Now the only thing people remember is the opening. Now for some controversial endings. Attack on Titan. I read the ending. I wasn't the biggest fan. It's not bad, but I like when an ending is one of the best parts of the show. The Attack on Titan ending is mid compared to the best moments of season 3. Now one show that people like to call out for a bad ending that I don't necessarily agree with is Naruto. Because the ending isn't Kaguya, it's the final fight between Sasuke and Naruto. And it's one of the best fights. No, actually, one of the best moments in anime, and in my opinion, it's the perfect conclusion for the series that just displays the parallels between the characters that were throughout. But the real tragedy at the end of Naruto is Boruto. Boruto fans say to read the manga, but I have, and it's not good. It was really doomed from the start because it's conceptually completely unnecessary. It starts off with just an insult to all Naruto fans. But as a Naruto fan myself, I like to just forget it exists. Talking about Naruto, I also want to mention One Piece. The ending's still not even in sight, but even though I love One Piece and it's just one of my favorite shows, I just have a feeling the ending will disappoint. Like for over 1,000 episodes, it's been hyping up the mysterious One Piece. But what could the One Piece possibly be that would live up to the hype? I don't know if there's a satisfying ending for the One Piece itself. Maybe a good ending between characters, but even with the amount of fan theories there are, I have yet to see a good one. But I guess I'll have to hope that Oda has an idea that nobody else could even think of. And even if the ending is disappointing, One Piece is at the level where it won't really matter. There are a few shows like that. A bad ending to One Piece or Naruto can never really ruin the story, or even make it irrelevant, because the journey to the end is just so amazing. Now, I don't really know where I'm even going with this video. Maybe I just made it to defend the Naruto ending, but that's a question only I know the answer to. I'm just gonna give my opinions on a bunch of shows that are considered to have bad endings. Sword Art Online may be a bad second season, but because of that, most people missed out on a fairly good last couple seasons. Or actually not too bad. Obviously it's still Sword Art Online, but it's still alright. That show about quintuplets. I can't believe that's who they went with. 2 thumbs down, not happy about it. Gurren Lagann, not necessarily a bad ending and a great show, just want to say I have no idea whether or not I even enjoyed the last couple episodes in space because I have no idea what was going on. I was just like cheering for the main character, like woo, spiral power. But now that I think about it, I actually hated the ending. Spoiler warning for the next like 10 seconds. I hated the whole I dug the holes for other people to go through. Like I wanted to see my favorite character on top after they won. It's not an objectively bad ending, it just makes me unhappy. Erased, wow. There really isn't a good possible ending set up because even if he ended up with either girl, it would be a weird age gap. But I'm still unhappy with who that one girl ended up with. Death Note. The very ending isn't bad, but if the show ended 15 episodes earlier, it would be in my top 10. And lastly, my favorite manga of all time, Berserk. Because unfortunately, no ending might be worse than a bad ending. But I guess that goes for every anime that didn't get a second season. Alright, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, leave a like, comment any bad endings that I mentioned that you might actually like, or any shows I might have left out. If you really liked the video and you subscribed, that would make my day. Goodbye.